Ethereum is all about reimagining how the internet works. Buying things, building apps, storing records, Ethereum wants to change all of that. To understand Ethereum, you have to understand how the internet works today. At this moment, well, the way the internet works currently, I think, at a very simple level, when you give a company your information, so your name, your address, it's stored on a computer system called a server. So let's think for a moment. Most of our things we keep on these computer servers. So we're talking about names, addresses, bank records, credit card numbers, emails, even photos. But while this current way of doing things is really convenient, there are two major problems with it. Or not problems, but two major downsides to it. One, these systems cost a lot to run, and so they require them to have a lot of people to be on the system so they can have reduced costs, and that cost is passed to us. The second thing is, like anything with the internet these days, anything with the internet period, it's vulnerable to hacking. Ethereum is revolutionary because for the first time, it moves away from the third party and the control that the third party has. So things like Apple, Google, Microsoft, and instead puts the community of users in charge. The big idea behind Ethereum is that anybody can use this new decentralized network to create and run decentralized apps. These are called dApps, or distributed applications in the Ethereum world. These dApps bundle together a bunch of smart contracts, which I'll go on to explain later in the video, in an easy to use interface. Ethereum users are located all around the world, and they volunteer to help run the Ethereum network by volunteering their own computers. Information on this network is peer-to-peer, and as I've said in videos before, what that means is it's person to person, doesn't move through a third entity. Removing third parties has its benefits. For example, because Ethereum is a computer network run by the community of users, it means our personal information is not stored on any centralized system, meaning that it's more than likely not going to be sold, disrupted, hacked, and misused in any way. That said, it's now our own problem to make sure that that data is protected properly. Decentralization means that nobody can be excluded from using the Ethereum network. People from all countries and backgrounds can use them without any permissions and controls. Let's use a really simple example for a moment. Imagine two people are sending a message via WhatsApp or Messenger or Snapchat. Once sent, the message goes from that person's phone to the company server to the other person's phone. I understand that these messages are encrypted these days, but I believe that's how their system works. This can become a problem if the company servers are hacked and then that data is misused and misconstrued and sold on the black market, or just sold in general for advertising purposes and to make a profit off of you, because at the end of the day, we then become the product, the consumer becomes the product. Now, if we were using a decentralized Ethereum messaging service, what would happen is when I click send on my phone, the message would go from my phone to the other person's phone via the Ethereum network. And the best part is that your message is actually hidden from the network. Changing gears slightly, decentralized apps, or these dApps, work automatically without any middlemen because of the smart contracts that underpin them. They put agreed upon rules onto computer code, which is then able to be enforced automatically in whatever situation you've programmed it to. The best part is that after the rules are set and agreed upon, nobody can change them. There's no manipulation of the contract. So no one can game the contract, and you can't, tweak it here and there so that I'm getting $1 million on this deal and you're getting nothing. The smart contract automatically decides, based on the parameters that you've set, who gets paid what and under what conditions, and how disputes are resolved, because it's all built into this contract that then just gets executed. Well, the beauty of it is that I don't actually have to trust the other person on the side of the contract because I trust the system itself. Many Ethereum applications and smart contracts require an exchange of money. And in the Ethereum network, that monetary built-in digital payment method is called ETH for short. Every time money is transferred by an Ethereum smart contract, ETH or Ether is used for that transaction. Unlike traditional currencies, the US dollar, for instance, or the pound sterling, or the Japanese yen, Ether is 100% digital. Because of that, it can be built into the contract and stored directly inside of the contract. This is what makes it possible for the smart contract to automatically send and receive money. In addition to smart contracts, Ether is also used to pay the volunteers for maintaining the network. So as a consumer or someone that might use the network, dApps have to pay a small ETH fee when they're being used. It's called gas. It's considered to be the fuel needed to run. The purpose of this is so that people can't just create looping applications which congest the network, because it would essentially just be too costly to run. So I want to go over some of the things that you can do with Ethereum potentially. And in another video, I'll go over how you could potentially make money with Ethereum. First is a peer-to-peer marketplace. With Ethereum, it's possible to create these marketplaces where shoppers can pay sellers directly. So similar to eBay, but eBay is that central entity. Instead, you have something like, in a way, it's like Facebook. It's not like Facebook Marketplace because that's its own entity as well. There's no middleman required. I can sell my camera to Joe Blogs via the Ethereum network. A great example is music artists selling their music to fans. Instead of using a middleman like Apple or Spotify or Amazon Music, the music would become cheaper and the artists would get a bigger share of the profit, basically. So they're getting paid what they're worth rather than having to go through a distributor. What makes that possible is the Ethereum smart contracts. They ensure that the parties do what they're agreed to do and that the payments are made on time and the products are received. Once the downloads are finished or the packages are received, Ethereum can be paid to the seller automatically. You can also have peer-to-peer insurance. Now, it's possible to create smart contract insurance policies. I think we're moving in this direction today and it's getting a little easier, but insurance is still one of those kind of, closed off industries where it's quite difficult to understand how insurance really works. So for example, you could create a smart car insurance policy that automatically charges you for the amount of miles that you actually drive. Insurance could become cheaper and more customized. But also you could start putting in other inputs. So how well you drive, do you break the speed limit? Is your car maintained properly? And you start putting all these inputs into it and it allows you to get a really customizable policy, because someone that's looking after their property, looking after their cars, looking after their motorbikes is more likely to be a safer driver. This would increase fees for drivers that consistently break the rules and don't maintain their cars, and reward good drivers absolutely automatically. So that's Ethereum in a nutshell, and hopefully I've been able to explain it in a way that makes sense. If you don't understand it, please hit me up. And as always, stay hodling. It's been a bad month, but it'll go back.